On today's show, the Phoenix Suns bounce back and get a massive W against the Los Angeles Lakers, edging out that tiebreaker for later on in the season. How did they do it? Why I was wrong about Grayson Allen? Let's talk about that and much more in this edition of Locked On Phoenix Suns.
You are Locked On Suns, your daily Phoenix Suns podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up and welcome back into Locked On Phoenix Suns. My name is Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, where we talk all things Arizona sports at 8 a.m. on YouTube, plus a credentialed Phoenix Suns media member covering the Phoenix Suns for the number one sports podcast network in the solar system, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's anyone on Mars. The Locked On Podcast Network, wherever you may be listening, consuming, watching Locked On Phoenix Suns. Appreciate you making myself and this show a part of your day. Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. And you can become an everydayer tuning in to Locked On Phoenix Suns. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla-y cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Joining me on today's show, you know him, you love him. He's AZ Sports Zone on Twitter. Sometimes we spar with each other. Sometimes he dunks on me. Other times I pass on him. Also, our lovely marketing guy who's going to be watching every ad read I do and reporting back to the overheads. My guy, Brandon Duenas. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm great. It's good to be back here. It feels like a preseason game for me because it's like trying to get back in the podcast swing of things. For those of you that know, like I used to be on here with Brendan occasionally, and Ben's let me on here a couple times. So it's good to be back and get that podcast itch scratched.
To be fair, people need to come on this show, and we're going to talk about it in the later segment because surprise, Brandon, I actually said something that pissed some people off. That is sort of that can be sometimes my MO, and I don't ever want to ever put a take out there and not let myself be checked by someone who I think is respected amongst the Suns community. So we're going to talk about that in the later segment. However, the Suns beat the Lakers today, and it's a really I do not like to speak in hyperbole. I do not like to be over exaggerated when I don't need to be. This is a big win for the Suns. This is a Lakers team who the Suns now hold the tiebreaker against, and the Suns are 2 games back from the Lakers now. And the Lakers, a team that I thought was not going to be very good in the preseason, now is sort of spiraling a little bit, and the Suns look to get Devin Booker back after he was supposed to be evaluated today, and we'll see how that goes. But what was your biggest takeaway from the game? I'll let you go first. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so they're actually 1 game back now. It's two in the loss column, I believe, but that was huge. Like you said, the tiebreaker situation, and really could be end up being like the win of the season that kind of hopefully sparks them to get back to the basketball team that we fell in love with, like originally, right? Like there was a lot of the last few games, Ben, I don't know about you, but I've been pulling my hair out just watching the offense, and it felt like it was going that way again. It was 66-53. Lakers were in control, leading by 13. The Suns were not scoring again, and it just felt like it was just a continuation of the last few games, and then a spark just flipped. Like they just turn it up real quick, and it just goes to show you that shooting is contagious.
Yeah,
and it starts with hustle, and that's what this team's identity is built on. So seeing them get those little scrappy, Jose Alvarado type steals from behind, but Booyah had one of them. There's I know the Ryan Duncan transition was awesome. Just Grayson Allen pulling up, hitting threes, and then of course death by Royce O'Neal is a brutal way to go out if you're a Lakers fan, but. It was a fun game to watch, and great to see the Suns get back to like the basics of what made them a great team early on.
No, I would agree with you with everything you just said. The biggest thing to me tonight was I had a take that feels wrong now in October, November, because the Suns, I felt like we're a smaller team, and that is true. And I downplayed the importance of Grayson Allen to this team. Because, and I don't feel like super like bad about the take at the time. I had nearly a decade worth of data to know what Grayson Allen was. and he was having this superb season. And then I said, well, the emergence of Jamari Bouye now makes the Suns having 6 playable guards that they have. They should move Grayson Allen to go get a big in here because I think he has value. And in the offseason, the Suns were literally trying to trade him, but no one wanted to take that deal. The Suns would have taken pennies on the dollar just to get off of the contract. And now that we're in February and it's no longer early December, I'm like, okay, this is Grayson. Like, he has just elevated his game. And like, I'm not scared to admit I was wrong, but I feel wrong here. He feels like the third best Sun this season. And at times, the best player on the floor. Not often, but at times. What's kind of your take on Grayson Allen and how he's elevated this season? And like, to you, if you saw this coming either.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those players that it's easy to take him for granted, especially with how deep the Suns guard rotation is. And obviously now with Booker, Goodwin, and Brooks out, I know Brooks isn't technically a guard, but it shuffles the entire rotation. So I think him and Gillespie tonight were just the epitome of what this Suns team has been all season, right? Where they'll kind of catch you by surprise. They'll play at that edge. And Grayson's more than a shooter. That's something I think a lot of people kind of mistake with him. Like, he can get downhill and he'll attack hard. That wraparound pass he had late in the game was incredible. Like, just some of the plays he makes when he's in attack mode is huge. And honestly, I think he really has been that sort of unsung hero. And he's the type of player that every team wants. I'm glad they didn't trade him. I think I don't think your logic was wrong in terms of positional structure of the team. Like, it made sense that there was going to be someone that was expendable. Why not try to get a power forward or a bigger forward by using Grayson as a trade bait? But yeah, I think he really is kind of stepped into a larger role this year that many of us didn't expect. With a healthy Jalen Green and Devin Booker, he kind of feels like the odd man out on paper.
Well, and before the season started, and like, we'll talk more about Jalen Green later. I think people think I just want to dunk on Jalen Green every chance I get, when in reality, if he's the best version of himself, all of us are happier. The team is better. I make more money. More people tune into the show. Like, that's what we would get if Jalen Green was the best version of himself. But I think it was very interesting that for the later part in the fourth quarter, and for those of you hearing my baby scream in the background, I apologize for that. New father. We're still trying to get it figured out, and that's okay. But for Grayson Allen, I think it's interesting that at the end of the game, the very last possession, they brought Jalen Green in. But to close out the game, there was no Jalen Green. And when the season started, it was Jalen Green's the second best player on this team. That was the notion thrown out there. Jordan Knott didn't even hesitate to put the ball in Grayson Allen's hand when the game was there to be won. And I think that says something now. And I do think a hierarchy in the Suns offense matters. Like, people will tell me, why do you care who to say who's the second best player is? Because I think roles matter. Is this where we're at now? Is Grayson just the third best player on this team until further notice?
I think there's a strong argument for that at this point. Then I think he's the third most important right now. Like, when he's clicking, this team hits a gear that is just different. I think watching him and Collin Gillespie, especially the off-ball movement, when those two are running around in circles and just, it looks like hell to guard both of them, like on the perimeter, because they're just relocating and just hitting Oso and then getting a quick cut back out to the three-point line and spotting up for a three, like stuff like that. The movement he brings and the edge, like, that's one thing. Grayson's not afraid to mix it up. And I think defensively, like him and Gillespie, sure, they're undersized, but they're both feisty. But yeah, I think there's a stronger case for Grayson being the third best player right now than there is against him.
Well, it's just interesting because, like, I say all this stuff and Grayson was 9 for 24 tonight. He was 6 or 16 from three.
Yeah.
But like, if we're going to do it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish with Jalen Green when he hit the game winner the other night against the Orlando Magic. And I do firmly believe in that. It felt like every big shot that was coming from this team was from those two guys, either Grayson Allen or Collin Gillespie. And it's like fourth quarter Collin Gillespie and Grayson Allen is just a thing now. And it's to the point where, like, I know Royce O'Neal hit the game winner, but this team has become so good in the clutch. And it just feels like that's a culture thing now. Like they expect to be better. They expect to be better than the opposing team that has a Luka and a LeBron on the other side. I don't know. What's your take on that and the mentality that these guys have got tonight?
Yeah, like I said, they're just relentless. Like they could have easily folded when they're down 13, coming out of halftime flat again, and they kept fighting and shooting a lot of threes. Like they shot 50 threes tonight. The Lakers shot 29. So that is a massive gap and none bigger than the final one by Royce to decide things. So it's kind of fitting it came on a three. But yeah, I think it just speaks to this team's culture. Like just when, we were out, they pull us back in. That's just what this Suns team is. And it's been fun to watch. So I think there's always going to be slumps, especially shooting slumps in the season. Doesn't matter how good of a team you are. It's a lot easier to go in the slumps when your best two players are out. And that's the situation they're in now, which makes the Jalen Green situation, which we'll get to later, really murky and tough to kind of dissect without them having all their guys, because everyone's in different roles right now. But they've been adapting all year on the fly, and it's been great.
I wanted to start the show off with the 3-point barrage, but let's do that in the next segment, because I think that there's something there to say, is this sustainable, or what is the Suns, right? Are the Suns the previous 7 games that they just played and they lost 5 of them, or are they more what they are tonight? So let's talk about that next. First, today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at DoorDash. As I just go ahead and throw the wrong one up, but we'll get to 5-hour energy later. The season's heating up, and DoorDash has a way to keep fans in their bag the whole way through. Whether you're watching the highlights, the tunnel fits, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes the entire season more fun because every player has their bag with DoorDash. Fans have one too. DoorDash keeps your snacks stocked, your gear fresh, and your watch party vibes absolutely on point. There are nights when your team stresses you out, let DoorDash become your post-game therapy. Sometimes you just need dessert now. Those late-night interviews hit, and suddenly you need chips at midnight. DoorDash is built exactly for that. From tip-off to overtime, stay in your bag and order on DoorDash. Get snacks, drinks, gear, whatever gets you through the season, delivered right to your door. DoorDash, in your bag all season long. Also, reminder, we did launch our Everydayer Club. For those of you that are unaware of what it is, $5 a month, and it's access to an ad-free audio version of Locked On Phoenix Suns. It's an invite to the members-only Locked On Suns group chat, exclusive access to national bonus shows, members-only Locked On merch store with exclusive gear, and 60% discount on additional Everydayer Club member-level subscriptions, because it's hard to just pick one team. Thank you for continuously supporting Locked On Phoenix Suns. Okay. So let's talk about one of my other big takeaways tonight, outside of Grayson, who kind of just stole it from me, and his importance to this Suns team, is they are so beholden to the 3-point shot. And this is one of the things that concerned me, where I think there was a fair argument. I didn't really buy into it, but I thought there was a fair argument to be made that maybe guys were just regressing to the mean, because the Suns had legitimately 7 players having a career year. Dylan Brooks, Jordan Goodwin, Jamari Bouye, Mark Williams, Grayson Allen, Collin Gillespie. They had numerous players who were playing out of their mind. And a large portion of that had to do with the 3-point shooting from this team outside of Mark Williams. And I thought to myself, how sustainable is that? And can they, I know that they're a small team, but is this going to translate to the play? Honestly, should we even care if it translates to the playoffs? Because them getting there is a massive win. But when the whistle gets tighter, when the whistle, gets swallowed more and the games are tighter, is this a fair way to be able to deal with teams when it gets a little bit more physical, just bombs away from 3? Or is there some concern for you? They're well, they won tonight because they hit the 3 ball effectively. Are they going to do that tomorrow? And it's Devin Booker's coming back. Well, Devin Booker's about 3-point shooter. What's kind of your take on that?
Yeah, I think part of it's just the modern NBA, right? Look at the Celtics and their run where they were shooting.
Thunder 2.
Exactly, yeah, they let it fly. So I think it has to be strategic, right? It can't be, you're not just shooting to shoot, just from the analytics standpoint of 3 is better than 2. Sure. I think it needs to be within the game plan, within the game, like the flow of the game. They need to still need to get downhill. That's where Jalen Green, I think, when we see this team at full strength with Brooks and Booker on the perimeter, like having that downhill threat is still going to be very important. And like how defenses play them in the playoffs is going to be really interesting to watch, because I think how they choose to defend the Suns from the three, is it just going to be one of those things where they try to, force them to drive? Like it really just depends on matchups, I think, because a lot of the Suns offense is reliant on whether it's Booker in the mid range or getting to a spot and, a pick and roll, popping it out to the corner for three. But really, I think their offense is at its best when it's quick and there's no ISO ball. It's selfless. It's moving. That's when they're at their best. And defensively, making those extra plays, getting steals, leaking out in transition. Like the Suns thrive in chaos, and that's why I'm excited. Like I think those playoff games, if they're allowed to get a little more physical, like I think they're going to thrive in that environment. And I think if the threes, they're going to live and die by the three, of course. But I mean, honestly, who isn't at this point?
Do you trust them? Like I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm the big opinions guy. I don't know if I trust them. And they've been and just so we're fair, like that's kind of a bad take, because they've been a great 3-point shooting team, like the majority of the year, like top 10 in the NBA. But it's just hard for me to hitch my wagon to Jordan Goodwin and a guy who I love, who I've been spreading propaganda about all year in Collin Gillespie. It's hard for me to know that, like, I'm going to have to trust these guys. Do you trust them to do that?
I think I'm going to say yes, in the sense that like Grayson was one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA for an entire season not too long ago. Gillespie's been a great shooter everywhere he's gone. If you want to question like Goodwin, that's fair, because like, players that maybe are like borderline shooters, like would you want them to take your first shot? Probably not. But I think who I do trust is Devin Booker in a playoff series surrounded by shooters getting good looks. That's where I think this team's going to have to click offensively, but they have to prove it. And like for me, it's just like we're playing with house money right now. Like I had
100%.
I had very few expectations heading into the season, and like just getting a playoff series. If they can sink in the top 6, great. If it's a play-in, and even we get that, like I think it's going to be really fun to watch this team with truly zero expectations. Where especially if they get matched up with a team like the Spurs or the Nuggets, like teams that have these high expectations, and Suns have nothing to lose compared to those teams.
They can push a team around for 6 games. I think that they'll lose the series, but I think they could push a team around like the Nuggets or the Thunder and make it uncomfortable.
Are they healthy?
Talk about,
that's the thing. That's a never ending question though.
That's true. But no one's healthy in the NBA. Yeah. It feels like I understand that argument, but I just get a little frustrated by it. It's like no one's healthy.
It's never going to happen. It feels like at this point.
I wouldn't hold your breath at this point. I want to get to 2 guys. I'm struggling who to get with first, but it feels so alarming that Mark Williams played 13 minutes tonight and Osso Aguidaro played 34 minutes tonight. Osso's another guy. Like we're tracking my wrongs tonight. I called him Sweet Baby Osso Aguidaro to start the season because it was so frustrating. I was actually losing my temper watching him. So I had to start treating him like a toddler and like, oh, this is just cute. Like, oh, sweet baby Osso. He's just trying out there. Let him get his run. And then it really changed. He turned into this attacker. He started using he is a underrated ball handler. He's not a great ball handler. He's not Kyrie, but no one's just going to steal the ball from him. And he has learned this confidence to drive to the basket and be aggressive and have this is one of the things I struggle with Jalen Green. He is decisive at the basket. He knows what he's going to do. He's either going to put it up or he's going to kick it out to someone. Is Mark Williams in danger of losing his starting job? By the way, his parents listen to this show. They've told me they love this show. So let it rip as you talk about their son.
Way to go. Way to burn bridges, Ben. But yeah, no, I think it really is just matchup dependent. Like I think there's gonna be times where Mark Williams is gonna feast and he's gonna get his. But tonight, Osso, like they were playing better with him on the court. So Jordan Knott, he benched Green for a little bit down the stretch too. Like what we've learned from Jordan Knott is he's not afraid to make decisions based on how the game is going. He's not. He's a very in the moment coach, and I think credit to Oso, like he's really turned it around. I think Dillon Brooks has been an awesome veteran for him. He's been talking about it all the time, just how he's been trying to get in his head, trying to get under his skin, and then he finally snapped. And then after Oso snapped, this is like a couple months back, he's been a different player like ever since. So I think stuff like that, it's just like watching players grow up before your eyes. And I think Oso, they need him to play at that edge. He needs to be physical. I want other fan bases to tweet about how annoying Oso is. Like I like seeing that stuff because if you would have told me that last year, there was Magic fans talking about how annoying Oso is, I would have been like,
no one would have bought it.
Yeah.
Exactly. No one would have bought it.
So that's a great trajectory he's on. And shout out Rasheer Fleming. I can't.
There it is. That's the other guy that I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
That's the maybe let's spend a minute on it really quickly. And that's not fair, but not everyone's going to make the cut. We'll talk more about Rasheer Fleming over the weekend. Rasheer was my guy he was a guy I liked out of the draft list, but he was the guy where I was like, Dillon Brooks is out. Rasheer's your next guy. He's got to grow up fast. And one of my reasonings for it was, well, this is the position that he's going to be asked to play in the future. He's he can shoot the three ball. He shot 41% at St. Joseph. The other thing was like, he's not 18. He's 21. He'll be 22 soon. Like, it's time to grow up. And tonight, you saw a guy grow up a lot. He feels like the person they need to really bridge this gap for when Dillon Brooks is out. And then when Dillon Brooks comes back, now I have a viable backup wing that I've been begging for. Your take on Rasheer?
Totally agree. I think tonight he kind of played that young Kawhi LeBron stopper. Where,
oh my God, that's what I thought. Dude, so someone tweeted out, and it's a guy that doesn't like me, and that's okay. What do you see when you see Rasheer Fleming? I quote tweeted it and turned and deleted the tweet. I said Kawhi Leonard. I'm sorry, continue. That's not fair. Also, that's not fair to put on Rasheer. It's not fair to put on him, and it's not him yet, but I did see some shades.
To be clear, I'm not comparing him to Kawhi, but there are some similarities. I think the wingspan, the way he moves, like there's no doubt in my mind Rasheer Fleming is going to be an all-NBA defender at one point of his career. Like I think if he can hit threes, that changes everything too. Like consistently hit threes and really add a little bit more offensively. That's another story. But yeah, defensively, he's exactly what you want in a four. He can switch, he can move, he disrupts shots, he has size. I really like the Oso Rasheer duo, like long term. I feel like if Rasheer can get a little more consistent with the three, like that's a 4 or 5 that's versatile and a little undersized, obviously, but I think could hang with a lot of these teams that go with that small ball, especially in the playoffs. So big Rasheer guy. Glad they traded up and sniped Boston because I know they were trying to trade up for him. Yep. So I think he's going to be a big part of what they do going forward.
Let's talk about Jalen Green, who was terrible again tonight. And I had a take that went viral on Suns Twitter, and I want to make sure I don't need to be checked on this. So let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something new for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy draft. Listen, my favorite cherry, that bold cherry candy style flavor, classic red fruit profile, bright, punchy taste, clean, slightly tangy finish. Listen, you want one that like maybe a little bit underrated? Who doesn't like some cotton candy? The sweet side of tasty caffeine, light, airy, candy profile, nostalgic, carnival style taste, pure sweetness from start to finish. 5 Hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar. 5 Hour Energy has a lot of other upcoming flavors, initiatives planned, so be ready for those. Find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available only at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Today's episode is also brought to you by the folks over at Game Time. There's nothing like being in the NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment, getting tickets. So that part's not always so easy. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I love seeing the all-in-front pricing up front, no surprise fees at checkout. Being able to see the view from my seat before buying makes the decision easy. Zone deals stand out. I choose a section. Game Time picks the seats. And you save. Great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Okay, let's talk about everyone's favorite son. You know this. I have a lane in Arizona sports media. And the lane is, I will praise you when you're good. I will do that. And when you're bad, I will also say something. And sometimes I can be a bit harsh. Maybe that's who I am. And I have been very vocal, I think the most vocal, about my concerns of Jalen Green's fit in this offense. I had a guy tell me today that no one likes me and, I should quit. So this might be my final podcast ever. Some people might like that. Unfortunately, that's a joke. And I said that Jalen Green is not playing winning basketball right now. And he is sabotaging the Suns offense. I stand by all those things. And tonight, Jalen Green, if you take out, and I won't, but if you take out one of his 3-point buckets that he threw up at the end of the shot clock and it hit the backboard, he would have 6 points tonight. But that's not how sports work. He hit it, 9 points, 4 for 15, 1 for 7 from 3, 1 assist. That makes 10 assists in his last 5 games. And the problem for me tonight was a ton of ISO ball. The Suns offense needs to be fluid. One of the problems with Kevin Durant last year is the offense was stagnant. He could not move as well as he used to. The ball would become stagnant in Jalen Green's hands. I've made the argument that I think Collin Gillespie is a better fit in the starting lineup, knowing that the Suns would never do that. People are saying, well, you have to wait for Devin Booker, and that somehow Green's not 100% healthy, which I don't need any of those statistics to back up that he was inefficient in Houston. I'm not rooting against Jalen Green. If Jalen Green is awesome, more people watch this show. People can make fun of me because I was wrong. And we all make more money because people are more tuned into the Suns. So I'm rooting for him. You've seen my discourse about Jalen Green. Tell me why I'm wrong, or why maybe you're also a hot take artist who doesn't do any prep and just negative takes all the time.
Yeah, you ruffling feathers, like that's unheard of. Yeah, look,
I'm happy. You know what's crazy? I'm actually happy that that's my reputation. You know what? Someone's got to fill that lane. I'm happy I'm not just a regular, pencil pusher every day. Oh, I love this team. You know what? I'm happy I'm different. I'm sorry. Continue. I had to hurt myself patting myself on the back.
Look, I mean, I think every Suns fan can agree the Jalen Green situation's been very disappointing this season as a whole. Injuries, coming back, getting hurt again, looking very kind of out of sync, he's trying to get his legs back under him. I think we just got to relax. He's played 11 games this year. I understand, obviously without Devin Booker, it's really tough to weigh exactly what his role is going to be here, because we didn't bring Jalen Green in to be this version of being the guy. He's not the Batman. I know I saw Voida tweet that he's a Robin being asked to be Batman, which I agree with. But I think it's not just that. He's not going to continue to shoot this poorly. He's not an efficient player. I'll give you credit on that. I agree. You look at his track record, he's gone through shooting slumps like this in the past. But I think it's the perfect storm for him to fail right now. Is he's still trying to trust his legs. Coming back from something like this, it's such a mental hurdle too. Every time he cuts or does anything athletic,
you do grimace.
Exactly. So it's in the back of his mind. If you're grimacing, imagine how he feels. So that's where I draw the line of let's give him some time to get his legs back. Let's see what he looks like with the team that they envisioned. And I think that's where we can make a fair judgment. In the meantime, tonight was super disappointing, specifically of all the games to me, because Lakers defense is not great. They don't have really
terrible. They're 24th in defensive rating. 24th.
It's awful, and they don't have point of attack guys. So I really thought this would be a game where he broke out. He did not. I tried to throw a little hot take, or not hot take, but just like a quick prediction of like I think it has 37 points and tonight, and that clearly did not happen. But look, I think, like I said, it's been the perfect storm for him to fail at this point. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I think
it's fair. It's totally fair.
Yeah, I think this is the worst he's going to be all year. Like, and we better hope it is. So I think give him some time. If this is continuing for like the next month, I think that's an entire different discussion.
So okay, that's fair. I think that's fair. Are you saying, so this is my other question. When people got upset with me, when is it fair to start holding Jalen Green more accountable? Because maybe because the playoffs feel closer than they are, and there's no Booker and there's no Brooks, and I was told by Suns fans, not you, that he's a terrific scorer. He's the leading scorer on the 2 seed. And I was like, well, that is a little inefficient, but okay. When is it fair to maybe start holding him more accountable?
So this is where I actually agree. I think it's fine to hold him accountable right now, but I think you have to keep that context in the back of your mind. It's like looking big picture. So there's a difference of, on a day-to-day basis, I'm totally fine with breaking down what you saw, which is what you do. You're not lying. Like, he's been bad. Like, those are facts. But I think looking at it holistically, like that's where I kind of try to really calm down with the whole situation. I guess it's like, if as we get closer to crunch time, Booker's back, like at least one of Booker and Brooks is back, and Green's costing us games, then I think it's fair to slam him. But I think there's nothing wrong on a game-by-game basis. It doesn't matter if it's Green or Gillespie. Like, if Gillespie has a terrible game or whoever, like, I think it's fair to call it how it is. But at the same time, making proclamations of like, he's not a good fit, or not saying you're doing this with that specific tweet, or video. But I think it's fair to hold people accountable. So I actually agree with you there.
Here's the last thing I'll say. This is what I want from Jalen. I want him to be a more decisive player coming downhill, with the idea of knowing he's not on Houston anymore. He can trust the shooters around him. I need him to get to the rim, finish more efficiently, which he did not do. He does get to the rim. He doesn't do it efficiently. He 58% last year. It's not a good number for a point guard. I need him to trust the players around him, swing it around when he's attracting another defender. And honestly, I kind of do need him to shoot a little bit better from 3. I need him to shoot less volume and a little bit better. Because, and if that's 35%, that's fine. But I need him to cover up the deficiencies of Devin Booker. And I ain't going to ask Devin Booker to change at this point, who's just a bad 3-point shooter at this point in his career. What are you like, this is what Jalen needs to do to be better? And then, everyone can make fun of Ben for being wrong, which, by the way, I'm rooting for.
In a perfect world, Jalen Green continues to be a scorer first guard, because that's what the Suns need. But he needs to fit into like what they're trying to build identity-wise, which means he has to make quick decisions. There can't be, like, we've seen it even with Brooks at times. Like, as much as I love Dylan Brooks, there's been times where the offense falls flat, and it's from pounding the ball and wasting a possession. Like, what I think we need from Jalen Green is he has to make very quick reads, either attack or pass, let everyone else around him fill in the gaps, keep moving, put some like Olympic book type style into your game where you're sacrificing. Imagine both of them. Like, I think that's what I think Booker being on the court with them for that reason, and in the game, just when they're in that flow, like, that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, because I think that's where it's going to work, where they're kind of feeding off of each other. And, those early games when he stepped in, and Brooks was there for one of them, I think, and he looked a lot more comfortable and was getting his shots and not really forcing. I think Jalen Green needs to figure out who he is on the Phoenix Suns. That's the bottom line. He hasn't done that yet. Until he does that, he just looks like half the time he's trying to fit in, half the time he's trying to just be a hero. And like, the shooting slumps will do that to you, right? Like, it gets, and dealing with the injury on top of that, it's mental.
Shot selection is just so bad. It's just so bad. It's just a lot of ISO ball. But again, you're right. Maybe I've been a little rash, and I think that's fair, but that's why I bring people on, because I put something out there because there's no one on here to check me anymore. Brendan said, peace out, Seacrest, because he got so sick and tired of it. That's a joke. People might actually think it's real. But I think that it's fair. If I say something, someone needs to come on here and be like, check it. Because I don't think it's fair to me to be unchecked. But with that being said, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ben Garcia Show. Follow my guy here, AZ Sports Zone on Twitter. At some point, I'm going to say something stupid. He's going to disagree with me. He's going to come after me for it, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you. And don't worry, we will have you on again in the future, man.
Thanks, Ben. Go Suns.